here. I forgot to hit record, my goodness. So you started out back in your 20s, Jackie Levi, as an engineer. And then you decided along the way to reinvent yourself and go a whole different route. So I'd love to hear, and I'd love for you to share a little bit more about what even led you into being an engineer, because I think that's a big part of the story of what had you switching over.
Yeah, well, thank you. The way it started is that I have two brothers, and I have a father who all of them are engineers. Now, I was raised in a family that of a lot of equality. My father believed in me just like he believed in my brothers. And since my brothers became engineers, I thought that I needed to be an engineer just like them so that my father would continue to believe in me.
Wow.
And since I could do it, I did it. And one of the wonderful things is that I was one of the only women in the engineering department on those days. So it was amazing to be a woman, amazing to be part of the family of engineers. And people would look at me and say, wow, she's an engineer.
Yeah, very
And
impressive.
my father would say that the same, and my brothers could
Yeah.
not say anything else. And what happened is that one day I was in the lab. It was an 8-hour lab. And we were having, we needed to identify a substance or something like that. And if you miss one single thing, you have to start all over again. And at that point, I was by myself in the lab. The lab was very, very dark. And I was playing with the test tubes and I messed up. And I couldn't shout. I couldn't scream at the test tubes because this test tube didn't talk to this one. And talking to them, they didn't talk back. It was like, what am I doing here? So I finished the experiment at some point, but that was a moment, a pivotal moment in my life where I said, I don't like talking to test tubes. Answer back. They don't have more problems than a substance. And I said, this is not who I am.
Yeah.
Regardless of being the sister of two brothers, this is not who I am. I love beauty. So I started thinking about what was I going to do with my life. I was already an engineer. I already knew that everybody knew that I could do it. I knew that I could do it. And then talking to a friend of mine, that I met, like she appeared in front of me. This was a friend.
Heaven sent, huh?
I hadn't seen in years. She stopped me in the middle of the street and she said to me, what are you doing? And I said, I'm a chemical engineer. This is what I'm doing. What are you doing? And she said to me, I'm a psychologist and I'm about to finish my degree. I said, psychology.
You said, yeah, people versus test tubes.
Yes. So I said, I'm going to do a 180, Wow. I called my parents and I said, I'm going to study psychology. And my mother said, yay.
Ah.
My mother said, what? So anyway, I still thought that psychology was very individual. So I signed up for psychology, sociology, and anthropology because I wanted to see how an individual is in a society,
yes,
and in the history of society. And I was accepted to all of them.
Wow. So was it like three degrees basically is what you were pursuing at that point? Degrees. And they accepted you into, that is intense. They
accepted me into all of that.
That is crazy. So to be clear now, so you're in your 20s at this point. So this is about 45 years ago.
Yeah, I'm in my 20s. I am married. And my husband says to me, well, since you have done all of this up till now, you have only 2 years to finish because I want to pursue my career and I need you for that. So I said, okay, I'll do everything in 2 years. Little did I know that it was going to be overwhelming.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Yeah. To do 1 degree in 2 years is like quite overwhelming.
Yeah. 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 His idea was that we were going to move We were going to move to Italy at that point. He had gotten a scholarship to study in Italy, and it was in 2 years. So I had 2 years to finish.
And you did.
And I did.
Bravo. And you didn't lose your mind doing it.
I didn't lose my mind doing it. It was totally different than being an engineer. And the conversation, the people, the just being involved in human contact was amazing. It was amazing. I met amazing people that talked. And they talked about human stuff. They talked about feelings. They talked about emotions. They talked about being human.
Yeah. Yeah, so much more enriching. You know, if you're a people person, it's definitely, you know, it's a lot more enriching. Yeah. And you are such a great people person. So we're all very glad you got out of the lab.
You know, for me, it was not all the knowledge that I had was not wasted.
Yeah.
When my children were born and raised, whenever they had a math problem or a chemistry problem or physics problem, Mom, I was always there. So
yeah.
it was really a wonderful asset to have while raising my children. And being a psychologist and being a person's person was amazing also while raising my children.
Yeah.
I ended up working in their school as the school psychologist.
Oh, fantastic.
It was like amazing.
Yeah, it's so good for your family too, like for the kids to have a mom that understands them, gets them, you know, understanding the behavior at those levels. So when you had your children, then where were you living at that time? Did you make it to Italy?
We were yes. During that time, we lived in Italy for a while. We lived in London for a while. We lived in Poland for a while. And we ended up in Cleveland, Ohio. This is where we started our lives in the United States. And 2 of my sons were born in Cleveland.
Okay. And your husband's studies, you said he was pursuing, what were his studies?
He's a musician.
Musician. Okay. So he went off to study that. So while you were traveling, were you working, or your job was raising the kids at this point and working in the school system?
Well, while he was doing his studies, I was working so that he could study and we could eat.
So you were the breadwinner.
Yeah, I was working in the Royal Free Hospital in London. I was working in Italy. I was working somewhere.
Okay.
The idea was really to be able to sustain the fact that he needed to study.
Right, right. So that was an amazing relationship too, and partnership that you had, because that again is about more than 40 years ago. So bravo, you know, that you stepped up and you were not only wearing the pants in the family, you were wearing the dress in the family, went on to raise the kids in the family. So you got the apron on, the dress on, the pants, many multiple hats. You must have been pretty.
There were many things that I mean, pursuing a career as an artist is very, very difficult. Yeah. So people see the artist, but people don't see what happens backstage. And backstage is the accounting, the legal, the PR, and at home it is being the mother, the father, the cook, the dry cleaners, the trash,
that's right.
All of that.
So you were helping. Oh, and go. Sorry.
And being the beautiful wife.
Of course. Yes, because that's a big part of the role too. Because I'm sure you had to go out and do social events and schmooze with people, and so you had to get all gussied up. And so you're the beautiful wife, the beautiful mom. Wow, and working hard to bring the money home. And so you were also your husband's manager. You were saying, like, the behind the scenes, the accounting, the legal. So multiple hats. And wow. So if we look at over the many years, you've been active in a lot of different things. And then, so tell us what happened in 2014.
Well, 2000 and something started not that great. My parents became very, very ill, and I became the caregiver. Actually.
Right. Another role.
With Alzheimer's, and my mother was diagnosed with everything.
Wow.
It's not an easy one.
No.
And my mother and my father were very, very close, but my mother was diagnosed with every type of cancer that is available. So every 2 years she had a different cancer and different, all these treatments. So even though she was the brain of the family because my father had Alzheimer's, my father was the body of the family because my
Mm.
mother's body was disintegrating, and I was the caregiver. My parents lived in Mexico, but when all of that started, they came to live in the United States so that they could get the medical care from here, and I could be with them.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That
And I
saved
have
you.
to say, yes, also my children were very, very instrumental to that because they really helped a lot with my father. While I was in the chemo sessions with my mother, my children were taking care of their grandfather. So it was a
Mm.
family, it takes a village, right? So
It
it took
does. It
me to take
does.
care of my parents. And this lasted for 8 years.
Yeah,
Were 8 very difficult years.
I bet.
Just watching them disintegrate was horrible.
Yeah.
I could spend less time being the wife, and my children were also trying to pursue their own careers. So it started being a different balancing act. And my mother eventually died in 2011. My father died in 2012, and their deaths came together with other losses, including the loss of my husband. So I ended up divorcing
To
him.
divorce, right? Right. It's a lot of losses.
So it was a lot of losses. There were many other losses. There was the loss of there was a lot of grief,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
life as we had known it. It
Mm.
was a total transformation of life. So I am happy that I could keep it together till 2014, more or less. And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, so now what?
Now what? Yeah.
Now what? I'm alone. My sons are gone. My parents are gone. My husband is gone. My marriage is gone. Everything is
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So what do I do?
And here you are. You were 60, 61 at the time. That's when a lot of people would just decide maybe to retire and move to Florida, but not you.
Or go under the covers,
You know, many people go under the covers. You're absolutely right. It's yeah, it's a lot of blows to the psyche.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I don't think that I had any time to really digest what was going on.
Probably not. You were just on that hamster wheel. It's the next, next, next. Yeah, it's a lot of things lined up for you.
You know, at that point is when you realize what girlfriends are there for.
Mm.
And I had a group of friends that were amazing. And one of the things that girlfriends do is they give you advice. You should, and you should, and you should, and you should. And when you are in that state of mind of just leave me alone,
Mm.
um, there is nothing that I should that really sets in. It is
Right.
like, just be here with me. Just
Yeah.
listen to
Just
me.
listen. Yeah. Yeah, that's
But
so
that is not
important.
something that girlfriends do.
Yeah,
What
not
girlfriends
all
do,
friends.
they shoot all kinds of advice and things that you should do. And then one day, one of the things that I was doing, and I think probably that's the thing that kept me alive, is that I started dancing. That
Ah.
in my passion all my life, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, because there was nobody that was supporting my dancing, and I didn't feel that I had the time for that, and I didn't feel that I had the talent for that. But when I started all the losses, I found dance, and this is a
Mm.
story in itself. So I started dancing. And
Fantastic.
one of the most important things that came out of the dancing, besides being able to just disconnect from real life and go into a state of every time I was dancing, and that ah, gave me the possibility of going back into the world and being able to deal with the world. I found a friend, and she and I spent a lot of time together. And one day she says to me, um, I think you would be a wonderful coach. And I said, I don't play basketball. What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And
Sure, we automatically think sports, right? Or we
so
used to.
no, no, life coach.
Yeah.
I said, what is that? I
Mm.
mean, with everything going on in my life, what is a life coach? So she says to me, why don't you call CTI and find out? So immediately I called CTI,
And CTI, let's pause. CTI stands for what?
for Coactive Training Institute.
Core Coactive
Coactive. Coactive is a way
Training
of coaching, yes.
Training Institute.
Yeah. At that point, when I called them, the name was Coaches Training Institute.
Okay.
They became Coactive because this is a specific style of coaching.
Okay.
So when I called them, the person that on the other side told me what coaching was all about. She told me about the whole program. And without thinking twice and without asking anybody, I just signed up for everything, including certificate.
Give it all to me. Well, if you can do 3 degrees in 2 years, then this is a piece of cake for you.
Well, it was a big thing because I started doing the coaching while I was going through divorce.
Wow.
And I didn't want to share with anybody in the coaching place that I was going through divorce.
Hmm.
I don't know why I didn't want to share it. I didn't want for anybody to pity me, but I think I was pitying myself. I
Yeah.
remember the first introduction to me, where everybody says why they are doing coaching, why they want to be coaches. There were so many HR people in the group. There were so many people that were psychologists. There were so many people that were, big people in their companies, and they just wanted one more tool to be even bigger. And when I was asked why was I there, I said because I feel that I'm obsolete and I don't know where I'm going.
Really? That's how you were feeling at that
Oh my
point?
God, I felt like there was,
Obsolete. That's a big word to be feeling that. After everything that you had achieved and acquired over all those years, I mean, the list of accomplishments is amazing and outnumbers most human beings. And here you were feeling obsolete. That's quite
I didn't
quite
know what was coming up after this.
wow. I guess just the losses, the way they hit the psyche, huh? That's incredible.
So my first teacher came to me like 2 hours into the first day of the first coaching of the first everything, and he said to me, "We need to talk.
Mm.
What do we need to talk about?" He said to me, "Obsolete? What do you mean you're obsolete? If you are here, it's because you are not obsolete."
Mm-hmm.
So we started talking, and I started growing, and I did the whole thing. And while going through certification, I had hired him, that specific person, as my coach. And one day I asked him, I said to him, I heard about the leadership program. Do you think I should pursue that as well? And he said to me, absolutely, go for leadership. So I
Mm-hmm.
did the leadership program. And then I said, coaching is individual. How about groups? So I signed up for CRR, the Relationship Institute, and I got also to be a relationship coach, which is something that I had been involved in so many relationships, and I didn't know how this worked. I became passionate about relationships.
Wow.
So I was doing all of that at the same time, and every time I heard about something else that there was to learn, I wanted it.
Yeah.
So I started learning and learning. And then it also happened that I met Jonathan. Jonathan is my partner. And
Nice.
it was not something that I was looking for. It was not something that had been prescribed. It was not in my list of things to do. If anything, I didn't want to be in any relationship.
Right. After being married for many years. Yeah.
We were married for 43 years.
43. Wow.
And it was like, this is not what I want anymore. I need, and Jonathan came into my life.
Hmm.
And it was a beautiful friendship at first. And then we started talking about where do we go from here?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at the very beginning, I used to say to him, I was just divorced. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No, I like you very much. We have a nice relationship, and let's keep it that way. And then we started defining our relationship. And because of all the coaching and because of all the knowledge that I had, I was capable of also defining how I wanted for this to be in a way that it was him, it was me, he didn't need to be like me, I didn't need to be like him.
Oh, how
So
beautiful.
it is very, very well defined. There is
Mm.
a total commitment from both sides. And one of the commitments is that we don't need to be equal.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful?
Oh my God, it is amazing.
Embrace your differences. Yeah, it's so good when you can do that. Because then you live in the contrast. You know, you can see the other side, and it's so good to have a difference of opinion. Wow, wonderful. So we're out of time. This went so fast, Jackie. It's crazy. But just to wrap up, you're still pursuing stuff. You're involved in the Imago, which is also relationship tools and
This has been a dream of mine forever to do Imago.
amazing.
And I don't know where would I do it. That my stuff. Imago is a couples therapy,
Mm-hmm.
but I have found I started doing the Imago certification, and I find that Imago can be applied to any relationship. It is just amazing. It is just another amazing tool.
It
So I'm
is.
working on that, and I'm still working on the positive intelligence, which is just getting out of your everything that sabotages you.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Which is where we met. So we're coming full circle. That's yeah. The PQ intelligence is how we met, and it's all about the saboteurs and the sages, and that is really wonderful tools as well to help share. So you've got a massive toolbox to share with your clients, people who are seeking to move out of their stuff and to define their dreams and to move into a path that they love and a purpose that they feel inspired by. You are the go-to. So I've put your website link on this description, and it's jackielevy.com. And Jackie, I want to thank you. I think we could have talked for hours because you've got just such amazing stories and a wealth of knowledge. And it's an absolute privilege to know you and to be part of the weekly pods that we do together. So thank you, Jackie. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank,
listening. You're welcome, Jackie. So
thank you for
remember,
having me here. It's amazing.
oh, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You are a gift to me, really.
Oh, you're a gift to the world. Right back at you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. So remember, be kind to Mother Earth. She is the only planet we have. We do not have a planet B. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.